Well, well, well. What do we have here? Rage and MSU. Final round of the off-season competitive league of the round robin to decide who takes second seed and potentially first, depending on how tonight's game goes. Massive game, and with me, I have a very special guest. He is the whole reason we're here right now. He is the organizer of the off-season competitive league. His name is Rizza. And Rizza, how the fuck are you?
Well, brother, stoked to be here. Exciting matchup here with Rage and MSU. It's a very good game on board here. There's two very, very lethal teams facing off, and what a thriller to join you to
Shit,
be
yeah.
able to cast this one.
Piers Farm. What do you reckon? What's the strat here as we watch old Rage make their way up?
That town is going to be the crucial part. They're going to be wanting to hold that town and keep MSU out of it for all costs. They'll be playing for the 3-2 at minimum. It's going to be a very tough fight, this one.
100%. I recall a game 3-5 beating Roths just on this map. And it was just Artie all day. Artie got 50% of the kill count here. It's open, it's nasty, and it looks like royalty on top of a truck is going to be first to the point. So MSU have a bit of an advantage here over Rage in terms of getting cap weight on quickly. Just trying to spot the tanks. It looks like there's a medium up the main road for MSU. I haven't seen a Rage tank yet, but the P4 takes a bit longer to come across from mid. So how have you found setting up this comp, Rizza, and dealing with the the big wigs of clans? Was it what you thought it would be?
I was actually quite shocked. I was kind of expecting to be coming into a bit of a shit fight, to say the least. But honestly, every clan, props to every clan. They've just made this comp so easy to run. And obviously going to give a big shout out to LeBeardew and Hero for all their help with setting up and running this comp. Those blokes have been the backbone of getting things done and being able to spread league officials across the time zones. It's all proved out awesome to be able to run a smooth comp, and stoked to see it coming into the finals.
Yeah, that's huge. Those guys put in some work, eh? Like, even from a streamer perspective, having just nicely set out timetables where you can go and pick a game where you've got time, it just makes everyone's life so much easier. And it's a bit of a fight here over farm. It's contested right at halfway cap for MSU. It's definitely not a done deal for MSU. As Rage have some nice spawns not too far away from the hard cap. Whereas
MSU was starting to take some nice control over this sector around this plane. You can expect to
yeah,
see some big fights out here. That's a very, very crucial area in this map. Uh, that MG, if they get an MG up on top of that plane, it's going to rain hell for Rage. It's going to be hard work.
that's it, right? It's holding that map edge is number one for this point. Even though it's so far away from the actual hard cap, you you just have the security of back up against the wall. No one's coming in behind you, and then you can send your shots across to the hard point. Bit of a flank coming on as
Absolutely.
well from a moving target over there. Big name in the
We,
industry.
we all know how crucial that soft cap weight is also. It's not all about hard cap weight.
100%
It's a big sector to hold.
sector control. And MSU cap Piers Farm. Let's start the cap on Hamlet. I'm gonna call it and say it's probably just a couple of infy. Bit of a fake cap there, but still drags a few back from Rage to have to go and deal with that. Just have a quick look at the map and see spawns wise. Rage aren't using the maximum amount of Garys, although it's not been very long in the game. They're having to dedicate quite a lot to come back and defend because they don't have control of that west side of the hamlet sector. So they need to make sure they're smart about this, have clear comms, make sure they're doing their individual jobs, and the game plan should do itself.
They should definitely be looking at trying to get a garrison up towards the border of the H sector there, possibly squeezing in that right Gary that they have there now on the GH line and try to get that third garrison in for a bit of a strong front. But yeah, as you say, they're dedicating quite a lot to that defense.
Yeah, well, that recon flare is just showing a tank inside Hamlet, so that's what's causing the problems. So they do have a heavy coming up, though, that's going to deal with that for them.
Hopefully the lads are quick to get a garrison up behind the hamlet here because we've seen it before. This could be a quick match if they're not going to prepare their defences.
Yeah, a bit of a slow start for Rage, but Rage has experience. They're 18 months old. They're past that honeymoon period of new team, and all the guys there are going to be OGs or long-term players, especially in this 40v40. Whereas MSU definitely in their honeymoon period, only 6 months old, still probably refining their plans as well as a new team. But you can have all the plan. It's really about winning the one-on-ones as well. You know, you have the best plan
Absolutely.
in the world, but if you can't shoot, you're fucked.
You can't sleep on Rage, but you definitely can't sleep on MSU, and that's what's going to make this match one for the viewers. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Try and get a look at MSU as well, although we don't have their map. Nicely spread across, going for what looks like a quite a wide control of the map. Not quite fully across, but they probably don't need to be just yet.
Yeah, they're holding a nice line there, MSU, but these couple of flanks from Rage could change the way they're pushing a little here.
Yeah, getting one in behind will be big. Looks like a Rage light tank has managed to sneak through. We'll track that, see where he ends up. No AT really, apart from Mungo moving target, who probably won't be close enough to get a shot on. So you can see that as soon as they pick up that light tank's there, you're instantly drawing 4 players back to go and look for this. I mean, that light tank doesn't even have to shoot anyone. He's already taken 4 off the front line as Elidos gets run over by his own supply truck. That's unfortunate. You'd be so pissed.
Yeah, that's a tough gig, that one.
I know it's not really impacting the game hugely here, but I really want to see where this light tank
This
ends up.
is a play that puckers you up as a supply truck driver. Seeing this tank.
Well, it looks like he's trying to take him on. I don't know if the light tank's seen him. Yeah, spin around. That's a free kill.
Just imagine an AT on the top of this supply truck.
Yeah, that'd go good.
A bit of a 30-kilometre-an-hour tank.
Look, he's fucking pulled him over.
He's doing him in for a breath test.
he's fuck. He almost runs him over. Jesus. Mungo gets one in him, but doesn't live. That light tank, fatal drunk monkey. They need a shout out. Who else is there? Sitting in the gun. Johnny Tool. They're in a bit of trouble now, though. They've popped a tank shot that's ricocheted, a rocket. Looks like a Stewart there to finish it off. Good wee run there. Not huge kill count, but that's really pulled a few off the front line there for MSU. We should probably have a look how the actual game's playing out as well. Up the front. So wide map control, not very deep map control from MSU. Which you see Legion do it a fair bit when we watched them play Rofs on Foy in the Summit game. They had garrisons all the way across the map, and that's a really dominant setup if you have good shooters. It relies on your shooters having depth because you don't have the depth of players in the sector. And yeah, like we were discussing before, that's what wins and loses the game at the end of the day. Is, you know, if you can get kills, you're taking a whole lot of pressure off your team.
Absolutely, and both sides are well known to have some pretty good shooters, pretty handy shooters on each team, so it's going to be a great matchup. Yeah, I expect MSU are going to take things pretty slow here, given that they've taken that midpoint, which has put them on a winning term, so I think they'll be happy to hold and fight for Pierre's, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like the front line has sort of formed itself over this. I don't know what you call this area. I know everyone's got weird names for different parts of the map, but this sort of dugout area. It's a really nice spot for an Axis tank to sit and attack Pierre's farm, but MSU have taken that over. And if we look out to the east side, there's still MSU still chipping away there. With control, pretty much total control of the Pierre's Farm sector, and starting to squeeze out towards Hamlet. But the real issue that they can create for themselves here is, because it's a diagonal cap, MSU have to be very careful about how they are distributing their cap weight. So at the moment they're relatively safe with not many rage, or no one from rage in Pierre's Farm sector. But they're going to need a lot of weight into Hamlet sector to start getting a cap, because most of rage isn't there. So they need to be drip feeding people in there, but there's nowhere really nice for them to start doing that. They've either got to get a wide garrison up for a flank in there, or that front door is so thin, being on a diagonal, that that's a key area that Rage know they're going to defend. So, yeah, always tough on the diagonal cap, especially for the lower player number games. It's the 40v40. And then we've got another game tonight as well. Rizzy, you'll be quite excited. Are you playing in that?
Yeah, mate. Yep. I'm on.
Nice.
Stoked as. Looking forward to this one. It's always a good matchup between 11th and TFMC.
Yeah.
We love to see it. It's 11th and TFMC probably have one of the longest going civil rivalries that you've seen in Hell Let Loose. Both clans been around for quite a long time, and both entered the game pretty well at the same time. So it's always great to see the two come together.
Yeah. It is
Looking forward to another.
Yeah.
It's quite civil, but there's a lot of rivalry there, but it's not a toxic rivalry.
No, it's very much a sibling rivalry, right? Like, I remember distinctly a game Carentan Night getting the tank up into train station, and then just every 5 minutes there's a rocket in your back, and I would just be filthy about it, but at the same time it was respect, both teams. I think that was the first.
Memory serves me right. Sorry, mate. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm just reminiscing. I'm pretty certain that could have potentially been one of my first matches with the 11th, that Carentan Night match.
It was two tigers and a panther. They sent down the train tracks in the last 2 minutes. That's the distinct part of that game. I've still got the clip of it. It's probably one of my favourite clips. I'll send it to you.
That'll be a good watch, mate.
Yeah, it was an epic game. It went right down to the line. But yeah, that's that TFMC 11th. There's respect, but a hard fight. And I think also was one of the first console clan matches. Frank knows this fact, and I'm probably butchered it, but I'm fairly sure it was one of the first, or maybe it was the first streamed one or something. But I know on Frank's old channel, I don't think there were any other games that had been captured back when there was no admin cam.
In the good old days where it'd take you 2 hours just to start a clan match.
Yeah.
We didn't have the luxury of these private servers. Yeah, that was fond memories of dark times, that one.
Yeah, 100%.
You clear out your day just to play a clan war.
Yeah, it literally was like that. MSU is starting to wrap here. We've been rambling on about the good old days, but there's they're not coming into this game slowly at MSU. They've really set out. You can tell that they've got a plan and they're just executing it right now. And they've pushed Rage onto the back foot a wee bit. Still nice Garys though from Rage here.
They've done well to set up that rear. They're really looking to defend this Hamlet point, which is good to see. It's obviously going to be crucial. I feel if MSU can get a cap up over Hamlet, this is going to be an exciting match. You start to see a bit of the MSU rolling in, forming a nice line, starting to hit that Hamlet as well.
Yeah, well, as Toby Drew would say, this is very much a hinge point. It's not how he would say that, but of the match right now, MSU are pouring into soft cap nicely, wrapping around, trying to choke it out, but we see DFHAG. Oh, that's a C. You know what I mean. Squads moving into Piers Farm soft cap for Rage, so it's You know, that's with what you get with the low player numbers. You're gonna get a point where we'll have a cap race. It's just who starts it and who's got the defense to, you know, make a couple of seconds and win that cap race. Because I get the feeling we're gonna have one.
I've got a good feeling that it's pretty inbound here, Shady. We can see the Rage lads are starting to get a bit of a wraparound on Pierre's farm. They've got a garrison back there, and there doesn't seem to be too many numbers of MSU lads sort of holding back. They're starting to get a bit of a push rolling on. Here we go. We're starting to see a few pop up now. We got a couple back here. They seem to be quite deep, the Rage lads, into the MSU sector behind them. I'm not sure if they're aware they're back there.
Definitely looking to strike these couple of squads here.
There's going to be a big couple of gunfights to win here. If Rage can come out and keep a few numbers, see Overwatcher and Shard Wizard here have a fair job to do to maintain this backline.
Yeah, big job there. Good they have an MG station there, but if he dies... What do we have
here? Shard Wizard. Shard Wizard's gone down. It's leaving the back of MSU quite vulnerable.
Hopefully MSU now have some sort of spawn here that can indicate, hey, we've got people in the strong point. Just having a look in here. I can't see a garrison or outpost. Although they're pretty hard to see from top down. Get to a point where we should be contesting shortly. More coming off that spawn as well for Rage. But it's a big job capping a point, you know. You can send a couple of squads in, you can even fully cap it, but then you got to hold it, right? And that's a fucking job in itself. And a lot of the time in these competitive matches, because teams are so good at reacting and spawning back and getting back into position, a lot of the time a cap doesn't actually stick and it goes back the other way. So it's almost a two-stage thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like MSU's going to start to cause a bit of a hindrance towards this push as well. You can see at the top of the screen there, Barbecue Sauce, I believe it was, is potentially, if we could check the map, he could have got their garrison that they were pushing off. He come quite wide from a pretty similar area from where they were all pushing from.
Yeah, it's locked. It's not dead.
He's locked it out.
Still got an outpost up there though, Rage. But I think this is their best way in, to be honest. It's not front door here. And I'm a huge believer in flanks are, you know, they're a bit of a waste of resources. But if you do it properly, they can also save you resources and not wasting time fighting up front. You just have to be very coordinated about it.
We've seen the wave that pulled back from MSU towards Pierre's when they were starting to launch that bit of an attack on the Hamlet. So you can see Rage is starting to get a little bit more breathing room on that front door just due to that flank. So there's definitely times where it comes handy, and it can be as much of a hindrance as a help as well at the same time. The garrison's just come back online as well, so we expect to see a few more Rage blokes flood in off that, and we'll see what can happen here.
Yeah, definitely. Look at that Gary set up for Rage as well. It's nice and spread. They know that they've conceded that front row, that row 7, so they haven't mucked around trying to retake that and put up carries. They've just taken the ground that they have. Probably, in terms of terrain, is also a bit more advantageous in those trees rather than trying to hold on to the wheat field. And really nice Gary's off to the side as well in case MSU players manage to find the ones in the obvious places. And we've got 2 tanks stacked up as well on Hamlet. Tiger at P4. Haven't seen a lot of tank action actually yet. We haven't been looking for it enough, but apart from that excellent light tank at the start, that distraction. This royalty gonna look to take on the Tiger by himself. And CJ's there. He's not gonna let him through, surely. Nice defense from Rage. I like this. I think we can probably just put it down to a slower start rather than a lack of skill in terms of that early front foot that MSU had.
Absolutely, MSU were going to come out swinging, and I don't think Rage were quite expecting that. As as I've said, you can't doubt the skills. There's plenty of between both teams, so could have sprung as a bit of a shock. But Rage have definitely put himself back on the map and preparing to hold this Hamlet. Hopefully, they muster a bit of a cap onto Pierre's farm. Here we go. They're starting the cap. Here it is.
Yeah, really well organised start from MSU. Can definitely put a team on the back foot, but as we know, after the first 10 minutes, anything can go. Now, although it doesn't look like Rage is going to get much of a foothold here, it's drawn back a lot of players from the MSU side.
As we've mentioned, mate, those drawbacks are all crucial. That's a sigh of relief off the defense. Let their attack reset and reassemble. See how they're going to take this one on.
Ooh, I've just found something. I'm a little bit ahead of you here. There's a bit of delay coming through the stream, but big spawn over that east side there. For Rage to pretty much take full control over the east map edge, which, as we mentioned, was essential here to holding Pierre's farm. Must have got an airhead up here that we've missed while we're fucking chin wagging. This could be dangerous. Looks like some of those MSU players are getting good kills though, because he's moving through and he's taken out about 3 so far. That's not a bad KD there. Is it a half track? I'm gonna have to obviously zoom on that because there's an airhead. Yeah.
Once again, you can see the response in how far Rage have pulled MSU back.
Yeah. That bombing run's probably going to clear that all out, but now it's up to Rage to grab onto some of that ground that MSU may have had to pull back off of. So another wee map check. So although Rage, they did commit a lot of players to that that airhead spawn, they've only gained ground here up on the front door as well. Bit of definitely front foot ball for Rage at this moment. try and get another look on the MSU side of things for spawns, as we don't have the privilege of having their map. So we've got Gary back as expected. I don't even know what to call this. H4 corner, I'll call it that. So this looks to be sort of their back line. And as we saw before, they don't think they had a Gary and Piers farm. Probably a smart move, considering if Artie can dial in on a Gary there, you're kind of toast. That wide control, though, for MSU has... It's still there. They're still going wide before they go deep. Which makes Rage have to spread to to control any flanks. Got a couple fellas in the chat here. Heine says, good luck MSU, give them hell. Reese is also an MSU fan. We've got Felix Gaming, Rage. Let's go Rage, boys. Luke wants MSU to get up him. LeBearju has graced us with his presence. He reckons it's a solid match. And then Kane, he must be your mate, Rizza, because he said, let's go Rizza.
The old Caney.
Kano.
Caney's in. Got myself a fan in the chat.
Fuck yeah. Here we go.
Shout out to Kano.
So, right now, for MSU to make the next move on Hamlet, they really need to deny spawns, or they get a heap of people in the hard cap. As we've seen, we can probably put it down to Rage's Gary placement that has made it difficult for MSU to be denying spawns, and Rage doesn't have a massive front door. You know, they're just plugging away out the back of Pierre's farm. So, two very opposite game plans here, and they're countering each other quite well. Because, yeah, with that big defensive spread of Gary's, Rage obviously make it very difficult for MSU to, stop the spawns, and by the same token, Rage just keep being a pest in the backline.
Got another garrison up here, another quite attacking garrison.
Yeah.
It's Rage.
It's very wide this time, eh?
You can see the method in their madness. That width, you wouldn't really expect to see that get locked out, so...
Yeah.
The smart use of some OPs and a bit of dynamic movement, we could see another good push coming in here from Rage shortly, and dragging MSU back from that attack like they have numerous times now.
Yeah, it plays really well into that Rage game plan of just continuously being a pest in the backline, having a constantly up backline garrison. Although it's far away, it means that they don't need to put a heap of work into getting it up all the time. you know, at some point MSU might find it, but they're not gonna dedicate people to go out to the gardens out there. So let's Rage keep being annoying up in the back line and taking pressure off their defense, and it's just a matter of building that up when then winning those one-on-one fights. That's all it comes down to.
It's like Uncle Danny down here on the bottom of the screen's off on a little mission. I wonder if he's got a tip off of a wide MSU garrison or a spawn alike.
Does look like he has taken out a garrison here. See the puff of smoke. Could be supplies. But yes, you're right. Danny is going to be one to follow here. Why don't we actually... Let's follow Danny. It's a day in the life of Danny. Get ready with Danny.
Get ready with me as I prepare to take on MSU. He's done his plans. He's burned an OP here.
Burned an OP, got himself in a fight. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to leave Danny for a sec. Because we have an upside down 76. D's nuts. Nipper.
Oh, what has gone on here?
Chris Pimple caught in 4K upside down.
D's nuts.
Fuck, you'd be kicking yourself right now.
What has gone on to lead your tank to be on its lid in that position? Let's take a little bit of a look at the terrain. Can we do a little crash investigation here, Shady?
Yeah.
How have they pulled this one off? It seems relatively flat out here, so wow.
Fuck. We've possibly clipped here on 2 AT guns. But they make the tank bounce a bit because it's another placeable asset that fucks with the game. But what a shocking game, mate! Imagine if everyone played like a game that didn't act like this. What it would be like. You know, if it was like competitive, I don't know, Age of Empires. It's interesting, they're staying in the tank, so they obviously are able to fire from that position, otherwise they wouldn't be wasting their time here. Rage Artie is focusing that because they probably figured they got kills there, so the garrison's got to be there, but it's a bit further back, that garrison that Rage need to be targeting.
Just got to wonder, what's the tank crew's game plan here? Are we going to see another tank come through and give them a push and flip them back over, or are they looking to abandon ship once this Artie eases up?
Well, yeah, the limited times I've been on my lid, it's only a couple of times. It was actually Bear Edge driving. Again, Karantan Night. Seems like all my stories are Karantan Night. We had Fubar spotting and Bear clipped a barrel coming up to the canal crossing. It went on its lid, but then he jumped out, stood on top of the tank, and it just flipped itself over, but really nicely. You know how in some games, if you flip something, like armor, for example, you can use an action to push it back over? It was like that. So possibly they're hoping for a miracle here, but what they're thinking in the tank right now is here's 600 fuel that we've put in the toilet, and we're trying to get it out. And I'm a little bit ahead of you, but you're going to be stoked about this. Perfect Artie shell.
And it goes down.
It's
Bang.
dead.
What an artillery strike.
Oh, as we get a fucking airhead. It doesn't stop.
You're going to be lucky to get a spawn off this one. This seems to be,
Yeah,
it's been spotted here.
attacked by this greyhound here.
Hopefully he sees it.
He must do. He's on top. Oh, he's going to wait for the spawn wave, isn't he? Of course he is.
I believe he'd be locking it out.
Yeah. think that's why he's backed up. But Foolsy's got different ideas. 3, get off it. Come on, it's AT. Let's go. Take that Greyhound. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rev Forest, if you fucking pull this off. Oh, he must. It's only Crisp. He's solo here.
I believe that'd be their airhead spawn down as well.
Yeah, Airhead's fucked now, but old Rev Forest must have a satchel. Otherwise he would have rocketed it. Fuck,
They've heard him.
that could have been hilarious. And that's why if I ever see an airhead, I just kill it. I'm not going to muck around. I know it probably makes sense to let them spawn and then waste 10 seconds for everyone. Like, it's more of a hindrance for the people spawning on the airhead, but it's not worth taking the chance of an AT player getting out, hiding in the field, and potentially wasting your 10 seconds.
Having a bit of a look on the stats page for this match here, Shady. D Hulk 65 recon for Rage is sitting on 37 kills already.
Huge.
Huge plays from the recon there. We'd love to catch up and see where he's hiding. He seems to have himself posted up in a pretty strong point there.
Yeah. Royalty as well, I'm 37 there. Juice and JJ Dub, all above the 30s, but then we've got Flimbus, Leave For You, Dan, Randy Marsh, PTSD, and VB Long Dick at 8 AM. That's probably not a Rage player. My helmet just takes VB from 10th spot, so that's your top 10. I feel like that is relatively even there. But yes.
Pretty big fraggers here, as we expected to see. We're, just the pure skill out of both teams. So approaching, getting down towards the halfway mark of this one. So let's see what's to come.
I would like to go
A bit of a cap kicking off here.
Yeah, that cap. That's exactly what I was thinking. we might leave it above Pierre's farm. Oh, there's D-Hulk. Just down here in your bottom left shortly. Definitely anyone's game.
The rocket snipes coming inbound here too. Can't quite see who's firing those bad boys in. I believe it'd be the MSU trying to clear out a couple of those Rage players, and looks like they've taken a few out. They've halted the cap once again.
100%. Silent Rage was one of the ones that Darth Cheek told me to look out for. Apparently he's an absolute weapon on the front line, and that's exactly what he's doing here. Is just making an absolute nuisance of himself. But both teams are in it right now. MSU are, I'd say, slightly back foot in terms of having to deal with all this crap behind them. But they still hold the territory. So, although there's not much in it, I'd say momentum slightly towards Rage. All MSU have to do is stop the momentum. They don't need to have forward momentum. And that's the real benefit of having a quick start. It's getting that cap, and you've got one less job to do.
Be great to take a bit of a squiz at this map, mate, when you got 2 seconds. We've got quite a few Rage numbers starting to get on this front line here, so obviously they're airheading and and their tactics are starting to pull MSU back a bit. Yeah, we can see Rage have established 2 nice front door garrisons there, so
Looks like Charlie Squad's got eyes on a Gary as well himself. But
looks like that front door's just gone down as we speak. Commentator's curse has come into play.
I love the commentator's curse. It's fucking real, man. Like, anyone on POV, as soon as you switch to them, they're dead. Does look like MSU have tried a little bit of a flank down there in the bottom left. K Squad and a heavy tank along with J Squad looking to go and clean that up. Possibly an airhead there. They've also taken out one of Rage's backline garrisons. It's not going to be a huge issue for them. They've just sent up another recon flare. And it's being cleared. Captain Insano, he's another name I've been told to watch out for. Big plays on the defense there from him. Pookie Chips, Copenhagen, the dude, Chavo, Lieutenant Kill, Commander. Going really wide, trying to get an idea of... There's a good response here from Rage to this flank. They haven't mucked around. They haven't got white line fever on their own attacking plays, which is really important. And Chips and Swerve just making a name for themselves in the back here. Looks like we do have eyes on this Gary here. Tucked away in the corner. That's going to be a pain in the ass for Rage to deal with, but it's far enough back where, you know, Rage have a bit of time before MSU can really get any pressure off of it. Lieutenant Kill may actually know what he's looking for. It is an obvious spot. It is where you'd put one. Right on the edge of the map. See how well Lieutenant Kill knows his maps. Does look like he's gone the wrong way. What a shame. It could have been great. Rusty Hicks, big Rage fan there. In the chat with a let's go Rage. It's anyone's game right now, Rusty. Just pan back across. Front line's still the same as it was 30 minutes ago. It's just how well can Rage filter their guys up in the back. I do think Rage probably need to think about a different approach. Not directionally, just more where they're approaching from. Because at the moment they're getting almost full squads into Pierre's farm, but they're not able to stick it. It looks like that's what Charlie Squad's up to at the moment. Get a shout out here from Mr. Smokey. He's got his outpost deep now. He probably has the map knowledge to know that that eastern edge is far more important to hold. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an attempt at garrison set up, or even just a clear out of MSU's garrison and a quick airhead called in. That could be massive there for Rage getting a bit of a push on, because the other way you can do it is tank up the guts, but Rage are definitely making use of their heavies to defend right now, and because we're only playing 40v40, yeah, usually limited to 2 tanks. Unless you're on a really open map, you might squeeze a third, but both teams not really. I haven't seen some very huge tank plays, have you? Have we just not been really catching them?
I think we may have missed a bit of the tank action, but yeah, I think it's definitely been pretty quiet in the tanks department.
Yeah, 100%. Well, they're definitely not. They're not around Piers Farm because we've been watching that most of the game. So they're obviously Rage has got theirs back on defense. You know, taking a bit of work away from the Infi, and MSU have been putting them on their roofs. So if we can get some combined arms, some tank Infi play here, this could be big for either team if they can pull that. Looks like front doors just open itself up. D Holt, top of the scoreboard in support class. He's going to go for a run, and we should probably watch this and fucking write down some pointers because that's a good score.
White level 180 in the chat here says Rage has got this. They're just letting the map develop. 4D chess. Let's go, fellas. It looks that way as well. Rage are looking to pull a couple of interesting plays out with their wide garrison, so be interesting to see how this one pans out coming into the last 35 minutes of this match.
Yeah, huge call there from Light Level. Exactly right. Letting the map develop. You know, there's 100 or 80 people in this case, but usually 100 people on the map, and sometimes you don't actually have to make the first move. You can let the other team make a slip, overextend, and take ground yourself. Good defense there though from MSU. You can't fault that. Managed to clear that push. Rusty has just joined today. Do you mean you've just downloaded Hell Let Loose, or you've just joined Rage, Rusty? Oh, obviously 15 minutes before you can actually reply, but this is your first day of Hell Let Loose. You're in for a fucking interesting time.
Grab a beer, my friend, and sit down because you have got some fun learning to do. What a game Hell Let Loose is.
Yeah, as much as we hate it, excellent game.
It's just like that toxic ex-girlfriend, mate. Once you get a taste, you always just want to go back.
100%. Yeah. You can, flip a tank on its roof in a crucial point of the game to the point where you've biffed your controller out the window and uninstalled the game. But next week, when it's, quarter-final time, you'll have it reinstalled and you have a brand new controller. And you might have had it modified by Seawall as well. I've heard he's excellent at those. And you're back. It keeps dragging you back. So many people over the years have said, I'm not playing this game anymore, yet we see them back.
You'd love to see if there was a stat of how many times the game's been uninstalled. Because I'm sure they're keeping track of how many times it's been installed.
Huge.
The uninstall reinstall rate would be huge.
Yeah. Excruciating game, but yeah, just from a gaming perspective as a whole, it's pretty much a sandbox, right? In France, or whatever map you're playing. You get given the gear, and then you have to decide how you want to attack it.
the MSU bombing run slicks into the edge of the map there. It only picks up 2 by the look of things.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of MSU numbers on the Pierre's farm here. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, Shady, looks like MSU boys are going to be holding that 3-2 winning ground.
Yeah.
Looking to secure that second spot coming into the finals.
Well, that's huge, right? I mean, you obviously know the final format a lot better than me, but that means they skip quarterfinals. Is that correct?
Can quickly flick you over the bracket, mate, if you wanted to chuck it up. We can have a bit of a look at that and see how things are going to pan out for these teams over the next few weeks.
Sweet. Just do a bit of hacking in the background here and get that up for you. And then how does tonight's game affect that? Did that also have a bearing on the standings?
Who I believe, if MSU get up in this one and the 11th get over TFMC, I believe MSU could slip into first place.
Right.
It's all going to come down to the points system of this one. So throughout the season, we capture the amount of points captured, which counts towards your total points for when we get down into this nitty gritty. And yeah, MSU here, they if they can chalk up a win here, they're looking pretty strong to be able to take that first position. TFMC versus the 11th tonight is going to be a big one towards the top end of this table and see who plays where. But yeah, it's inevitable that MSU and TFMC both take the week off next week and see who they end up versing between the rest of the seeds.
Right, I see. And obviously the seed 1 gets an easier... Well, you say easier, but they play the seed 4 and 5 quarterfinalist winner versus seed 2 playing the seed 3 and 6. And then you're just into your standard brackets. And then I see. So Div 1 winner plays Div 2 winner. That'll be very interesting.
Yeah, we're going for a bit of a different approach. This is actually was a suggestion that was made towards the TPL that we decided to take on and give a bit of a trial run in the spirit of giving things a go and being a new competition. So see how that pans out as to crowning an overall winner. Obviously, we'll have our division winners and have everyone fight for that infamous spot of the winner of the off-season league.
That's huge, actually, bringing Div 2 right into the fight for the trophy, not having a Div 1 and Div 2. Well, I suppose you can still crown a winner from each, but that's massive. I love that. Because it's how it looks. There can always be an upset. On paper, I'd say Rage, probably just were the favourites for this game, just purely because of their experience and been around for longer, but seeing MSU here getting a solid push onto Hamlet, it looks like it could go the other way.
Quite a few Rage numbers looking to push that MSU push out, but it looks like MSU have adopted a bit of an east-west push, a bit of a sideways push.
Yeah.
Just creating a bit of an interesting front line here, as you can see. This is not your typical front line that you'd tend to see.
No, they've given up on that front door, and they've got a few squads coming out the back now. Really good reset though. That's something I always bang on about L201, but it's something I really like about L201 is the way that they reset is crazy. And teams that can reset, they're always in it. They're always fighting because as you can see here, a nice reset from Rage. They've got the cat back, and now they're just working on flushing it out. And that's, I think, one of the fundamental things that a team should drill and should learn is when it's time to reset, you redeploy right now. It's against your instinct to, waste your life there in 10 seconds or 20 seconds for the redeploy, but having numbers in the right place at the end of the day is how you win this game. You can get 200 kills, but if you're in the wrong place, you will lose.
As our mate Flight Level is said in the chat there, it is a game of chess. This is not checkers.
Nah,
We are playing chess.
it's not playing fucking checkers. You're dead right, Flight Level. Felix Gaming still backing Rage hard. Some really good Rage supporters here. We've got we've actually got a wee bit of a surprise as well. Because 5 minutes ago, another game kicked off. Now, don't want anyone to lose focus on what we're watching right now, because this is going to be an epic finish, but SCC and L201 have just started their game, and we should be able to cross live into it, assuming they've given me admin cam, and back it up with some more fucking live Hell Let Loose. Thoughts, Rizza?
Back to back blockbusters to start your Sunday morning, mate. What more could you want?
100%. And then into Lads Let Loose for tonight's game, TFMC 11th. Huge
Yeah, a bit of a
weekend.
chance there to have a bit of a rest up, get those couple of chores done, pay the missus off so you can tune in for the big match. The OG Derby, I believe they've referred this one to be the matchup between 11th and TFMC.
Big time.
Eleventh are looking to claim the trophy back after a loss to TFMC earlier in the season.
Yeah, there definitely won't be any punches held. What numbers are we playing for that game? I know it's SMA.
Locked in a 40 versus 40, mate. 40 versus 40.
Nice. That's big. Have a wee squiz at the map here. So, Rage looked to have squeezed not all of MSU out, but gotten a bit of control back over Hamlet. They have lost their very nice spawns that they had up the back, so they're going to need to work away at finding a way into Bear's farm again. But I wouldn't put it past Rage to pull something last minute, pull a Hail Mary last minute, maybe send a few tanks up.
Just having a look at that, as you mentioned it, Shady, Rage have 1,000 fuel sitting there ready to burn. So could see an infamous double heavy push onto Pierre's farm, and in this low format, we know how hard it is to defend that cap weight once you have those two heavies up there causing havoc. So could be a play that Rage pull out. stay tuned and let's see how things fold out.
100%.
Bit of a wide push starting to come up into the 5 and 6 sector of E there. So
Yeah, MSU's
we've seen
still
that in
got
itself
pressure
cause
on.
a bit of hell.
Oh, you're talking 5 and 6, yeah, 100%. I was just watching Helmet there. It looks like got a rocket kill on a tiger in the midpoint there for. Sorry, not midpoint, in the hard point for Hamlet. So, Rage still have problems to deal with in the back, especially the spawns. But Lieutenant Kill will get that backup garrison up again. Reset. Still 21 minutes. You only need 2.
Over and JJ Dub looking a little bit surrounded here. Let's see how Torva plays this one out. He's actually jumped into a squad leader role. I was sure I've seen him in a recon role at the beginning of the match.
Interesting.
Torva is pretty well known for his little sneaky tricks of jumping between and really being a utility player for MSU. So that could prove crucial in a method of MSU's madness in this match.
Yeah, I remember a game, Purple Heart Lane, ANZR, Lazard Loose streamed it, and he was in a fucking tank. So, who knows what they're going to pull here. But obviously, being in a squad leader position is a bit more of an advantage because he can actually get not just a sniper spawned off of his outpost. He can bring in an AT or an assault player.
Have a hold my beer player. Hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah, MSU is still keeping this pressure on, so they've really moved this front line right up. And it will be natural for Rage to go to their game plan and keep doing what they're doing and going up behind, but they need to keep a careful watch on how their defense is doing here because there's sort of 5 to 8 players close enough for MSU to be in the hard cap, and obviously once they start capping, you need to deal with that before you attack. But defense having a huge game here for Rage. They're not letting up. And those players to watch. Silent Rage. putting up some frontline pressure.
We have any rage tanks on the map, mate? Maybe we could capture a bit of tank play.
Yeah, we've just got that Tiger sitting in Hamlet, making sure that MSU don't get a hold here. He's doing a fucking wonderful job. Johnny Tool and Drunk Monkey, they don't even have a tank commander with them. They're just holding this garrison superbly. Really nice tank play there. Could do with a couple of infy around them, but they just can't spare it right now. So this will be quite heroic if they can keep this hold off long enough until Silent and the boys can get pressure up on Pierre's farm. Fatal comes back to his tank. He obviously got killed by Marty or something. JJ Dubs coming up with the engineer class and royalty with the Soul. Both probably have satchels, but Fatal sees it, gets the tank moving.
Comes royalty. Does he have a Sadie on him? Does he have that infamous assault Sadie? Change the play of the game. He goes down.
And this tank's under some pressure right now. Killer Rocky tries to get in behind with his rocket. Fatal's out though, he sees him. Domes him with the fucking pistol. What a fucking legend. So there is massive tank action here. We just haven't been looking for it.
We've been too caught up in the assault, mate. In the front lines.
Maybe in a bit of trouble here though. That garrison's gone now. Enraged. Got a nice setup to have the backups. But Fatal's got his head on a swivel. And he sees Sir Reginald trying to jump on the back. He's going to tell the gunner to swing. This is an insane tank play all by themselves. Pull back out and we'll be able to see Rage making use of those defensive Garys to be able to get into the sector, get straight back in. It's under cap again, cap it back. Great defense again. 15 to go. So not a huge frontline push anymore from Rage, because obviously they've needed to pull players back. They're also lacking spawns, but as we predicted, they did send up a heavy tank on the front, but just looked to be lacking Infy support there. The Infy's coming a little bit too late, so that tank's going to die, but that's going to be the play. We're definitely going to see another airhead. But do they put it in the same place? They could risk it for the biscuit and get it on the midpoint. I mean, if they've taken any lessons from their previous pushes, MSU haven't had massive numbers actually in the midpoint, so MSU are going to need to probably anticipate that airhead coming into the hard point and have a few people just watching for it. But
Makes you wonder, with going for this 3-2, at what point, and if at all, are MSU just going to say, boys, pull back, let's hold this PS farm like we're taking the initial capture and just maintain that sector, finish on the 3-2 win and call it a day.
Yeah, calling that is going to be crucial. It's going to be Commander's job to have a good read of the game. That'll be Stripey there. And anticipate that airhead. Because the biggest pushes from Rage have come from airheads. The MSU's been relatively dynamic with their attack, as they initially went for the front door approach, but certainly more of a flank now, as they've noticed that's worked a couple of times for them. Got another flank going. Looks like probably 2 full squads worth of players.
A bit of MSU pressure starting to come in here, and Rage look like they're starting to counter that pretty well.
New Tiger comes up as well. Rage. That'll be huge. Yeah, they've taken back Hamlet without tanks. No, I lied. There was a tank there, it just got killed. Another tank coming in to replace it. This Tiger might be in a bit of trouble, but Lieutenant Kittle knows he needs to support it up there, so he should take swerve, and he does. I still can't call it. I know MSU are front foot here, but an airhead can change everything here. Big spawn wave from MSU inside the strong point. Try and get eyes on what that actually is. Possibly an airhead because they've dropped all the smoke here. So now it's up to the Rage defense to get rid of this pressure. Looks like Chavo might be onto something here. See an airhead there. Good use of smoke though, but what it's done is it's let MSU in, but it's also let the Rage defense come in up the back and sweep that. Now is a really good time. It's a perfect time for Rage to make a play here, as they've just cleared out pretty much all that defense. Doesn't look like they've yeah, it doesn't look like they've gotten the spawns, but to be honest, they don't have time to worry about that now. Here comes the airhead front door. Lands right beside a 76 and Fungal Ninja. Bombing run. Come on, do it. Strafe it. It's going to be close. Wow. Sorry, I'm ahead of you. I'm calling this.
Oh, here's the bombing run. Oh, here it is. I've only just seen it. I'm a smidge behind you, mate, but the MSU lads are well aware that's in. Here they come. Commander Stripey pulls up in the supply truck, says, "Not today, not on my watch."
Yeah. Good spotting there. Probably not the best placement for Rage there. Although, they don't see what we see. If you're up in the air, you would have put it straight in the middle of the farm. Because MSU have actually left this pretty unguarded. Reese is actually asking for a quick stats check. 15 minutes ago, obviously, but we'll get you a bit of stats while Rage wind up for another push. Juice.
Just look at these numbers. What a match.
Yeah.
Two boys there pushing into the 70s.
Yeah, that's
everyone
big.
in the sort of top 14s around that 40 kills, and it's quite a reflection of the slog that this match has been.
100%. It hasn't really moved in terms of where that front line is. You've got a 76 on that front door, manages to take out one of Rage's Tigers, but Rage is, looks like they're just going to pump the front door and send everyone up.
6 minutes to go, you've got not much option, and this is where they're going to start to launch their attack that's going to make them or break them. Give MSU's defense a bit of a workout to finish off the match, and lock in, lads. This is a final 5.
100%. This will be a test for MSU's defense, but their attack looks like it's gonna take a bit of pressure off because they've just started to cap. Not much Rage can really do here. They know they've got to get to Pierre's farm somehow, but that involves taking people out of Hamlet, and then the result is that because MSU are on the front foot, they're able to just sneak their way in.
There's quite a lot of MSU taking over this hard cap in Hamlet, and this could spell danger for Rage.
Yeah, 4.5 to go. If they cap this, that will be game.
I must say, I was quite hoping to see a bit of that cap race action that we were predicting earlier.
Same. But Rage want the points differential. They understand that it's not just a simple win or lose for this comp. The amount of points you hold at the end of the game has a direct impact on where you come on the leaderboard. It's also a pride thing as well, 3-2's close. 4-1, not close. So I think they've made the right call here. Well, I mean, there's no way that they could whip like Cat without taking control back of Hamlet Cat race, but sending people back and making sure it's only a 3-2 is the best way to go down here. It shows that they are they've got guts. They're definitely not going to be a team you want to come in lightly against in the finals when it's knockout. 25 seconds for Rage to start capping. 20 seconds and they have a Tiger going full speed towards Pierce Farm. They've dropped smoke. It's not going to quite make it in time, unfortunately, but I like this play. It's a good way to end here. We'll be able to follow this Tiger in and see what he can do. It's Fatal and his crew. They're good. I'm a big fan of this crew. They obviously work really nicely together as they were able to hold for that long time at Hamlet.
Just got to be splashing those rounds in there, boys. Fortunately, they don't have the time to cap now, so will be a 3-2
Exactly.
to MSU.
Not much in it though. You know, if they'd started this push a minute ago, could have been a different story. But it was MSU's attack that gave their defense a bit of time.
Look at that. You hate to see that. It's just too little, too late.
There was one more
They
minute.
start the capture 1 minute earlier, and we could have been seeing a different end to this. What a match from both teams.
Yeah, huge from both. And you know, I reckon it's that close that it could even come down to, you know, the slight advantage you get having a clearer run up to Pierce Farm as the Allies, for example. Same as if you have a home field advantage for your local rugby team. There's a couple of points in there. So who knows if it was the other way around, how that would have ended. Good match. Really good match. Now, Felix, the stream delay is 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to go straight into SCC L201. What are your final thoughts there, Rizzo?
Mate, what a match. And just as we anticipated, we knew it was going to be a big dogfight, and Rage did not back down to MSU's forces, but MSU just come in too strong at the end of the day, secure that 3-2 victory that we'd predicted, and go home with the chockies.
Big time. Big time. I just need to find a fucking server. And just before you think I'm going to let you see the password get entered, I'm not. So piss off to anyone who's going to try that. I'll just give you a wee transition while I put the password in.
Righto, straight into the L201 game. Is this one?
Yeah, you did right. What I'll do is I'll just create my own squad so that I'm not fucking with anyone's game, because they aren't playing right now. And I'll get rid of those Rage and MSU logos. I'll get the cam up for you, and then I'll just fuck around with some stuff. Oh no, it's fucking Purple Heart Lane. We're not going to be able to see anything.
Looks like we got some shocking weather here in Purple Heart Lane. This is going to be a tricky one.
Oh yeah. Let's get our bearings
We're
here.
going to see a lot of boots on ground combat come into play in this one. We all know how tough it is to see out of the eyes of a tank in a match like this.
Yeah, big time. for you to see how everyone's set up. So we're on the SCC side here. We'll get some logos up so we know what the fuck we're doing. I'm a really big fan of SCC's logo. The old snake. Oh no. We'll flip that on. Sorry, SCC, I haven't removed the background on your logo. We've got a game to watch here. L201 just capped mid. L201 my favourite team in this comp. Just because they're absolute gentlemen to deal with. I've never come across any team more polite than L201. And extremely humble, but really skilled players as well. Like in their game against, I think it was MSU last week, Darth Baron was up there in the top 3 killers. And they've only been around for a short amount of time. Only 50 players in their Discord. Which is nuts. Yet they managed to play a 49s game against MSU. I think. Or maybe I dreamed that, but someone tell me if I'm wrong. But SCC also have some big names as well. They're a cornerstone of the OCE community. They're one of the newer teams, but I wouldn't call them new. They've been around long enough now to be part of the furniture of the OCE community. Got some names, big names there.
Interesting one too, this matchup. Little fun fact, this is actually led to believe it's both teams' first competition. I definitely know it is SCC, but as for L201, I'm not too sure if that's a fact. Someone correct me.
Yeah, I think I've been saying that all season anyway, so if it's wrong, then we'll just assume it's right.
Well, it's our first competition of seeing them on our screens. This is the first that we've sort of heard of them, and what an impact they've made towards the community. These L201 lads, as you mentioned, just great bunch of blokes and nice blokes to talk to. Unreal players as well. They're great, diverse. I know personally, I really enjoyed our match against L201. So let's see what they can get done against SCC here.
Yeah, big time, and we've got some nice control. I think as we jumped in, they just capped mid. Starting to spread out and take control of those key areas. So, as you know, a lot of this map is just underwater fields. So you can't just be sitting out in the open. You have to make your way across, take strategic hedges, use machine guns and tanks to cover your movements. I've turned highlights on here so we get a slightly better view, especially of the tanks. You can see an SCC one sitting back on Jordan Canal there in the green highlight. But shocking weather. Might have to actually be a bit more on the ground here with the players so we can get an actual view of what the hell's going on. So L201 now pushing their front line up, as you do.
Since we're hot into this one, Shady, hit us with your prediction, mate. How's this one going to play out?
I got a lot of respect for SCC, but I've got L201.
What are you thinking score-wise, mate? You think they're going to hold the 3-2 winning condition, or are we going to see a bit more of a 4-1, 5-0 approach?
Well, knowing the points, Jordan Canal is a nice one to hold for the Allies. That's tough, but knowing how L201 play and their excellent distribution of cap weight, I'm going to go 5-0. What about yourself?
I reckon SCC's defence is quite strong, but L201's attacking power, as you mentioned, their ability to distribute their troops and control their zones, I think we could... I'm going to see a 4-1 L201's way here. SCC can definitely defend, so I don't see them going down 5-0 just with that pride that they all have, and I just have a feeling L201's going to get that upper hand in that arm wrestle, but mate, I'm happy to be proved wrong and see SCC come away with the win as well. You'd love to see it.
Yeah, big time. Obviously, OCE. We'd love an OCE win. Represent. How does this game affect standings, if you know off the top of your head?
This match is no effect, I believe.
Right.
This is purely, this is just a hit out between two solid teams, so wouldn't expect it to see any shake up of the leaderboard.
Righto. I mean, cards off the table, then it's just about bragging rights. So we're going to see some fierce fighting. Cheeto's been up for a long time here. Making a mess of the SCC defence, but surely Wabbert's got him.
Like that I've been told to keep an eye on in this match is Darth Baron,
Yeah.
if he's around.
Big time. He's a weapon. And it's actually hard to get a hold of him because he's one of those players that it's just so... He's a game reader, so he's always at the tip of the spear, but then he's also in the middle of the defensive point, cleaning up messes. So actually finding him is going to be a bit of a bastard, but I'll do my best to spot him. Maybe, yeah.
Bit of luck. We might be blessed with a bit of a POV, and we'll have to see what we can do, mate. See what we can muster.
Yeah, here's Darth. Making his way up the main road. Now, main road, Purple Heart Lane. Miles away from Grout Pillbox or Jordan Canal, but it is crucial to cap a point here that you need to hold the main road. Because all that crossfire that you can put across with your tanks. And it's another 40v40 here. So enough room for 2 tanks at least. Yeah, let's watch Darth go on a tear. And we'll get scoreboard up for us as well at some point. Darth versus Vortex. Goes down. We talked them up too much. Sorry.
Oh, commentator's curse that we mentioned, mate. It's real. It's hitting.
Yeah, it's huge.
Hitting hard.
Absolutely. Just like old mate Curso before. Oh no, sorry, Cheeto, the spotter. In Jordan Canal Point, he sat up for ages, and then you mention his name and he's dead. Look at all these squad leaders. It's a squad of squad leaders. It's an interesting play. So they've obviously got all the boys to create squads so that
And I may be jumping the gun a little here and having a bit of a peek at the stats already, but I mean, we've got to catch up on that half an hour we've missed. And the arty from both teams is raining trouble on this match. L201 Artillery Castilian, 53 frags already. Shortly followed behind Pickles on SCC's Artillery with 40 bombs. So
Huge.
for half an hour of play, 40 minutes of play, that's a big kill count.
Yeah, and their Purple Heart Lane is notorious for having those channels that you get sucked into, and that you're just a free target for Artie. Big push on here from L201. And that's a massive benefit they have of having those 5 squad leaders that moved up, is that now they've got, I can only see 4 now, but 4 outposts that they can use to get 24 players potentially into Jordan Canal. That's over half the team. Who needs an airhead, right? And you've got
absolutely. It's as we know, mate. Those OPs, they're the silent killers, mate. You don't know about them until you're on top of them, and the waves of people that can come in off them. You can see how L201 could take the bickies off this point.
That's right, and SCC need to reset, but they do have a good backup garrison. They've set up a couple actually nicely on that 2-3 line so that they don't get cleared if they lose Canal, but it's not like St. Marie du Mont where you've got hedges for cover and you've got nice ways up to the point. You've kind of only got a couple of channels, and that's where that arty of Castillon and Pickles can really deny either team from movement.
A bit of a late bombing run here, but definitely be helpful in cleaning up, given just seeing off that map that the points are back to back. We know how this could be a roll-on effect, and
Ruthless.
could be a very handy bombing run.
Just starting to see more squad members spawn off. Here comes Darth Baron again. And that's what we were talking about in the last game, where you can cap a point, but you've got to hold it. And getting all of those squad leaders up with outposts makes a massive difference here, because if one's getting arty bombed, you can just jump on the other one. Or if one gets taken, there's still 3 left. So huge lesson for even the established teams to take from this. You can cause a heap of damage if you just send everyone up as a squad leader. And first comp for L201, and they're pulling this kind of shit. This is like some Legion Taco sort of play that I'd expect.
It always made me ponder if there's any form of affiliation between the Legion and the Legion 201.
Yes. I don't actually know the backstory there, but L201 are definitely from a slightly different region. They're North America, but Mexico's still part of North America, isn't it? Central America starts just below, pretty sure.
The Mexico.
Yeah. They're North America, but I think they're mostly based in Mexico, which explains Carlos, Chito, and the other Bananero. I've got an Afortunado. That's Italian. Shut up. SCC rolling back in though.
well-established recap from SCC.
Yeah,
Right when L201 were looking lethal, they've grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and said, "This game's ours, boys. You just come back here."
Yeah, it's my fucking lord.
A big spawn down there from L201. Is that a nice on-point garrison down there?
Does look like it. You know, he's
Blooded quite a few off that one.
yeah, it's definitely not an outpost. Nicely established garrison. It's really, really fast. So there's one word I could use to describe L201. It's fast. They do not muck around.
What a cutthroat team. They'll catch you if you step on your back foot in the slightest.
100%. I would be really interested to know if L201 were a community before jumping into Hell Let Loose, because they seem to play really nicely together. I wouldn't be surprised if they were a team in some other sort of game and jumped across, because yeah, their teamwork is outstanding, but SCC are really distributing their players nicely now to wrap around Jordan Canal. And they're starting to win those one-on-ones. So big job for the L201 defense. Have we had a 5-0 yet? Off-season league?
Yeah, there's been a few. I'll do a bit of a background check to get my facts right, but I believe a lot of them have actually come from Div 2. I think we've seen too many up in that Div 1.
Is it's a whole nother game plan, that 5-0. You've got to deal with the problem of the HQ being right there. Spawn
Absolutely.
options.
Just having a ponder back here. R22R, round 2 got 5-0 in 40 minutes over L201.
Right.
R22 again, cut another 5-0, 45 minutes against 11th. Round 4. R22R have cut sick with the 5-0s. Here's a third against SCC. Round 6. And that's it. Just the 3 in Div 1. So R22R are the only cutthroat team that have taken 5-0 victories in Div 1.
Shit. They're definitely going to be a dangerous one to watch out for. They've got a bye this weekend, right? Yeah, they must do. Because the only other game is the Div 1 is our game tonight.
A bit of a bye for them leading in.
Bit of a rest for them. Real back and forth here. That's the benefit. Although it's sitting at 4-1, it does mean that SCC have some nice channels available and some close spawns to get back into the Jordan Canal sector. Make sure that L201 are on their toes and they have to keep coming back and fending off that attack.
Like I said, mate, L201, they're going to come out with their knives to your throat, but SCC are not going to let them insert that dagger. They're giving them a fair bit of hell back here on Jordan Canal. You can only imagine it'd be a matter of time before SCC could launch a counter and bring this back to a 3-2 match.
Did right. Especially, yeah, if you're on that front foot, if you're pushing forward, gives you lots of room and time to come up with a plan, come up with a play, and make your way in. And that's what we saw really with MSU having the front foot a lot of that last game. Gave them space to change up their game plan and wrap around behind. And yeah, Rage never really managed to take out those outposts at the back, and that's what did them in. So I wouldn't be surprised if SCC pulled something similar. Check out the road. The road is crucial. Now it seems far away, but say you got just a, SCC got a deep Gary up where the camera's pointing in this housing complex. That would allow them to just stream across this canal and then with a bit of cover using the riverbank and funnel into the back of Jordan Canal. That would cause L201 a lot of problems, but it's all about having that strong defense to allow your attackers the opportunity to piss off outside of cap weight and get a play going. That's why I'm a big fan of I think they call it a flex squad, where it's just a squad of one or two that they don't necessarily have an assigned area of the map. They just probe, they just look for a way. I've seen it done from some of the TPL Div 1 teams. With a recon tank, they'll have their 3 tank squads in the 49v49, and they'll have one other player that takes a recon tank by themselves, sets up miles away at a nice spot to hit the enemy point and just send rockets in. Not rockets, sorry, AT shells. So it's basically arty, but it can kill spawns.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the infamous reach around squad, mate. They reach around and do you in from behind, and that catches a lot of teams sort of off foot and can quite change the way the game plays out. And it'd be awesome to see SCC pull something like that and sort of make L201 just step back on their lethal push and just, what's going on behind us.
100%. 11th has always been nasty at that. They'll, you guys will chuck AT all around behind and just, fuck, it's annoying.
Some would say that the 11th are pretty infamous for a reach around, mate. That's true.
And also in game as well.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realise we were talking about the game. My apologies.
100%. Oh, the Bear Jew has corrected us. These two teams are fighting for the 5th seed.
Here we go. Mate, what would I do without LeBear Jew?
100%. What an absolute
What a
weapon.
clutch bloke. He's all over this leaderboard. LeBear Jews actually set up a little leaderboard site for us and everything,
Yeah.
and he's managing that one. So the leaderboard is his baby. And apologies, mate, for getting that one wrong.
That's a really nice site you have there as well. I mean, all the leagues should do that. It's a really professional league, actually. For the first season, I'm extremely impressed with OSCL, off-season comp league. Um, I don't think you could have done it any better, to be honest. Given only 3 fellas are running it, and you're all in your own respective teams as well.
Yeah, it's been, mate. This comp's just run like a well-oiled machine, and as I say, the sheer experience of Hero and Bear and their copious work they do towards this comp and the TPL as well. It's really made for quite a nice little gap filler with the gap between Winter War League and the TPL finishing up. So I think a lot of teams have learned a lot out of this, and it's going to be exciting to see it all happen again.
100%. That's what you said to me at the start. It was all about making sure some of the newer teams that maybe didn't have a fully strong 49 side had the space to play competitive games and not get thumped every weekend by your already established teams. That those established teams have an advantage because they get the draw of players who, may want to play up a grade. I won't say poach because that's got a negative connotation, but they do just attract some players who maybe aren't tied strictly to the team that they're playing, and then you see the teams playing in the lower divisions. They're the ones actually bringing in the new players to the game and nurturing them up and having a slightly lower barrier to entry to play in their comp teams. They're the ones doing the work. If those teams weren't doing anything, if those teams, folded because they kept getting thumped every weekend, then you wouldn't have a game. There wouldn't be anyone moving up to the higher divisions. So there's no slight on anyone. In fact, it's props to everyone involved, for making sure this horribly buggy, excruciating game has a constantly growing player base.
Absolutely, and I know, like, personally speaking, the 11th, we love bringing in the blokes that have been playing the game and are sort of just trying to take their game to that next level in getting into these competition matches and taking it on. And mate, I find it quite rewarding when you can bring in a player who bonds well with the boys, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We're a bunch of mates playing a game, and to be able to play in a competitive level and have these, good hitouts that have been streamed all season long, it's really rewarding to see, and it brings the morale up a lot and gets a lot of players more interested in Hell Let Loose. So there's benefits all around, you meet new mates, you've got new blokes to play with, you get a couple wins up your belt, a bit of bragging rights around the pub matches, and just breeding the player base really and
100%.
making Hell Let Loose thrive.
Did right. I'll give us that bracket again because we've actually filled in a couple of squares here. So, so these two are playing for seed 5. So that means the winner, I believe R22R are locked into seed 4. So the winner of this plays R22R, which will be a tough match for whoever wins this. Then the loser of this must play Rage because Rage must be locked into seed 3 after just losing to MSU. Would that be? I might be wrong, but that's how I'm reading that.
So they're playing, for seed 5 and 6. So yeah.
Yeah.
whoever loses this match will be up against R22R, it should be.
So they'll be up against Rage, because they'll go to Seed 6, who will play Seed 3. And then R22R has to be Seed 4, is that right? Oh, no, of course not.
I'm just having a look here now. So you've got TFMC sitting in 1, MSU 2,
Yeah,
R22R 3, Rage 4, SCC 5, L201 6, 11th 7.
Right. You did right. I wasn't
So yeah,
thinking
we'll
about
see.
R22R because they had a bye.
We'll see SCC versus SCC versus R22R.
Yeah.
And then Rage will versus L201, I believe.
Right. If the game ends as it is now.
Correct.
Huge. Not letting go of this, eh? Oh, SCC, they're... L201's got some nice spawns just outside the 5th point, but they're not making ground. It looks like Artie is putting some heat down there. Nice outpost mark there from I Squad on the SCC side. Gives that Artie a spot to deny L201's access from that east side.
Love to see, is there many tanks on the field at the moment, Shady? I know we missed a lot of tank play in that last match.
Yeah, I normally do too much tank play. Frank says, "Oh, we're looking at tanks too much." Nah, jokes. There's only one light tank for SCC.
A bit dire on the fuel front there as well.
Yeah, so there must have been some mid kills. Trouble is, the weather's so shit that we can't actually see anything. But we do have a L201 Tiger with, again, really nice engineer on the back.
This kind of weather is what sees the tank to infantry cohesion come into play. If you can lean on your infantry and rely on those accurate pings, then you know the fog and the aspects of the weather can play big games.
Big time.
If you've got a solid infantry crew that's feeding your tank crew good information, you're going to get those crucial tank kills as well, which dissipates that cap weight we spoke about in the last game.
I've always been huge on, you just let, similar to if you're cutting a piece of wood, right, you let the saw do the work. It's the same with a tank. You let the tank do the work. You let the tank come up and support your squad. Then your area that you need to work on just shrinks to the small area around the tank. If you keep the tank alive, the tank will push your squad forward. You don't need to be concerned about what's in front. You just need to watch behind it. And L201 has this great strategy of having an engineer sit on the back, constantly repair this Tiger, angled beautifully so that any rogue shots can hopefully bounce off. This is a TPL Div 1 sort of play here. That all of those teams do this exact thing. They'll have an engineer on the back. So great play there from Apache and Vickman, Elmo, Amlo, and Lingu.
Definitely not something that we tend to see too often in this aspect of the match. The matchups obviously being a 40 versus 40, you're 10 blokes down, and I guess at the end of the day, keeping that tank up and getting that into that cap weight is, at the end of the day, probably going to help in making up for some of those lost numbers. So
exactly. It's knowing the importance of the tank in Purple Heart Lane, even though it's foggy. Those long lines of sight across those big fields, a tank is going to do a lot more than your M1 Garand or your Car 98. It's maybe worth about 5 or 10 of those. So
You can see, as I've just mentioned, SCC have thrown up a great tank ping.
Yeah.
They've got rid of that engineer, which is a crucial play. They've got a couple of rockets coming in onto that Tiger. It's just what I spoke about, mate. That's just the trust between the infantry. They're taking it on with AT, but to be able to get that communication across and the accuracy of those ATs, that's great work from SCC.
Huge. P-Strike just gets
Hopefully,
called in there in the top left as well.
hopefully we can see CQ Shooter with a satchel.
Could be huge. It's a big part of this L201 push right now is this Tiger. It looks like Vickman's seen it. And drops him.
Another victim to the pistol.
Really nice looking behind there. But that's where, having that engineer on the back or having a squad around that tank, they don't have to turn around and expose themselves to an enemy tank like they've just done. They can just keep pushing forward and not have to worry about those assault and AT players coming up behind them. Big props to SCC though for this defence. They've not let them gain a lot of ground here. There's a couple of L201 that have made it up the back, but they just keep fending them off this what looks like garrison. It may have actually been an airhead called in, because that's too many spawns. No, it's an outpost. I think it's just a fully stacked... 2 outposts. 3 outposts. 4 outposts. No, that's dead body.
Just had some hot news, Shady, come and hit me straight off the press, mate. And a quick shout out to the Div 2 team, OSCL, playing out of Brazil, Ocapa Bala. They've just beat PZLD 5-0 to make a perfect season, giving them all 7 wins, 6 wins. So 6-0 coming into the finals. They're going to be a team out of Div 2 to follow, and hopefully we can see them get through to that divisional final and play that overall final against the Div 1 team. That'll be a huge match.
Yeah, there's not something to sleep on for whoever comes into that final. It's a shame we couldn't stream more of the Div 2 as well. But the game's definitely grown. I'll say that. It's not... I reckon it slowed down a bit over Christmas when Armour came out and a lot of people thought they'd jump over there, but I think the gameplay loop... Just see if this Tiger actually goes down. That'll be big for SCC. It does. Yeah, the gameplay loop for Armour, I think it's a bit repetitive, so people have sort of dribbled back into how, and with the help of this comp, Summit, I reckon it's got as much attention on it as TPL had mid-season, so it doesn't feel like an off-season. You could just call it competitive league.
Absolutely, mate. I know quite a lot of people have been quite dialed into it. It's been great for a debut season. I'm pretty sure we're scraping touch over 300 members in the Discord, so...
Nice. The teams are growing as well. Like, seeing new players. I didn't recognise half of that MSU team. And, they've grown extremely quickly in 6 months. I have the privilege of seeing inside a TFMC, and they're always getting new members in just new players, not taking them off other teams. They're And yeah, say the same about SCC as well. Some names that I haven't seen before in pub games, so really good for the game. I haven't seen a lot of 11th play, to be honest, so I'm not, I'm not picking them out for any reason apart from I don't want to lie. L201. 5 players at the strong point. That's the problem with attacking this last point though. SCC had a Stewart straight up to counter that.
L201 have got a little bit of pressure back onto this 5th point. There's not too many SCC faces around. If they can get a couple crucial picks here, we could be seeing this come to an end pretty soon. Hopefully not for the SCC boys. Bit of a flood coming in on our left there.
It's a tough ask taking a 5th point. Yeah, you've really got to choke. You've got to get cat weight on to stop the HQ spawn, but then you've also got to find that Gary pretty much at the same time. Because, you know, there's no... When your back's against the wall, defending a 5th point, it's simple. You just spawn in the point. You got full weight in there, so there's no...
Quite a few running in. Correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but there's a tank crew member. Are they loading into a tank just there? I can't quite see, but it looks like they've run in to help with the cap weight.
Andy here.
Yeah, Andy, Leo, Money. Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks like they've come to support the lads. They've turned up. We don't have a tank, but we're still here, they say.
Looks like in the top left there, 76 has been spawned and Tin Man goes back to possibly grab it. Hey, yeah, I mean, if your tank's not there, you may as well use whatever gun you've got, right?
Not too sure about this 76 that they've had freshly spawned by the Commander Kongi.
I've actually got word from Fubar, who's actually... He used to play Hell Let Loose with Jesus back in the Old Testament. So he would know everything there is to know, and he reckons L201 actually played the last Winter League. So apologies to L201 for getting your history wrong, but that obviously shows, if it's not your first league, that it definitely shows in your gameplay. It's some really clean moves now to flood the strong point, but they've got a couple players up the back looking to choke out the spawns, but not quite there yet. The ACC still have opportunity to come from mid, but they'll roll the 76 in to start cap weight again. By the looks of it, the Gary might have been taken by L201. I'm going to have to check the map. The ACC have been smart here. They've chucked one way deep as well, so they're going to have constant spawns out of this HQ regardless of whether they have control of it or not. They're not going to be locked out. It's just about funneling fellas back in. to get control of the cat.
So you just see how aggressive these L201 boys are. They're really going for that back HQ to see what's going on.
100%. They're going to.
They're just not taking no for an answer, these lads. Yeah.
16 to go and wanting to close it out and nab that 5th seed, which would see them play Rage instead of R2-2R, which, based on the games played, actually is probably quite even, because R2-2R also lost to MSU in the final minutes of that game on Drill as well. I think this will be it though. For SCC, unfortunately, fought till the last second. Oh, of course I fucking cursed it for L201. Here they come with the cat. They've got to spawn off. A garrison. Who do we have to thank for that? But looks like it won't be enough. Wow. Huge.
It's all over. L201 come in with that big cutthroat 5-0 that was predicted, and you can just take a look at that artillery play. 111 kills off Artie. That is just ruthless.
That's huge.
It's definitely a that's a big play from L201, locking themselves in against that match versus Rage and sending SCC into the fish pond of versing R2-2R, their red hot 5-0 streak.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. Props to the SCC lads for holding out L201 from that 5-0 for hour and 15 minutes there. They definitely held their own and didn't make it easy for L201.
Yeah, he definitely saw it. SCC didn't let them have it easily. They're not a team to sleep on even after this, because it's knockout, right? Next week is whenever the quarterfinals start. It's knockout. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
no room for forgiveness in the finals. It's do or die stuff. It's crunch time, baby.
Yeah, 100%. I hope we get top 10. So we'll ignore the Artie because Artie. Oh fuck. New game. Right. Oh well. We can go look at that later. The stats, but thanks everyone for jumping in on the chat and watching. That was back-to-back off-season competitive league Div 1 games. What are your final thoughts, Rizza?
Good morning it's been, mate, and thanks for having me on the stream. It's been a cracker morning spent with you, getting to bring these matches to the people and giving everyone an insight of what a taste of competitive hell let loose looks like. It's been great, mate, and mate, I'm excited for the finals.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you for your insights. It's very interesting to hear from the fella who came up with this whole thing in terms of what it's like running it in the background. You do an excellent job, you three. So, well done on that. And we've got one game left of the Div 1 round 7 this weekend of TFMC versus 11th, which is our respective teams. You'll be playing. What position will you be playing there?
I'll be squad leading, mate. I'll be
Nice.
holding down the fort on the defense and trying to keep these TFMC mongrels out of our cap.
Righto. Good luck. Good luck on that. I'll be producing the Lads Let Loose stream, so if anyone wants to catch that game, you need to go to Twitch and follow Lads Let Loose, and you'll get notified when that game goes live. And 15-minute delay, which is fantastic. So you can again make a pig of yourselves in the chat, make an absolute name for yourself, and yeah, we'll see you tonight.